Hey everyone, please give a warm welcome to Horace Reese. He is a two-time national award-winning best-selling author and a two-time national award-winning entrepreneur. He's also a keynote speaker and he owns a digital marketing agency out in Nebraska. So guys, please give a warm welcome to Horace Reese. He's going to tell us a little bit more about himself and how he got started as an entrepreneur.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So where do we start? Where I got started?
Yes, I want you to tell me a little bit about how you got into
Oh,
the whole entrepreneurship.
yeah, I was kind of born into it. As every cliche story. I didn't really do the whole selling lemonade when I was young, or the Gary Vee story of I ripped out flowers and sold it to someone else. I didn't do all that. I'm foreign. I know you are as well. When we came to America, it was just, my parents were always working. It's not like I didn't have everything I've always wanted. I always had everything I wanted. They just had to work very hard to get those things, and they had to trade time for money. And I was young. I was 12. I was like, dang, I want to help them. So I went and got a job. I used to play soccer. I'm from Bosnia. Soccer is very big there. You grow up playing soccer. I was like, I already know it inside and out. Might as well go ref it. So I ref little kids. I was a little kid. At the time, I was making 20, 25 bucks an hour, technically. Yeah, that sounds cool until you hear that you ref one game in one day. So you actually make $25 a day. It's all about wording, right?
But honestly, I did it when I was a kid, and you made some good money. But I mean, then I got yelled at a couple times for messing up because it's like different. You would think like playing soccer and reffing soccer are the same thing. It's so not the same thing, and it's so much
No,
reffing.
so different. And then dealing with parents with little kids, because if little Johnny gets pushed, then they want, the person that get ejected. And I was like, no.
Right? So
Right, right. So I did that, and then I realized, dang, this is just trading time for money, and I don't love doing it. I'm gonna try this whole business thing. What could I do? So I realized I could be an affiliate of a bunch of different sites like Best Buy, Walmart, TVs, anything, right? I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm an affiliate of all these. Now what? I was like, well, I kind of want to have it all in one site where if I want TV, I can go here. If I want a bar of soap, I still go to the same website. If I want, a pillow, I can go to this website. It was kind of like an Amazon. I think Amazon was around back then. This was 2005, 2006, so it was around. Um, but I didn't use it a bunch. I just wanted to build my own thing. But then I had to learn how to build traffic because the whole build the storm people will come thing is not true. uh, right. So I had to learn all that. But that's basically it. And then here we are, fast forward 11 years. I have 5 companies now. Yeah, 5 companies. Consultancy, social media agency, social media app. I have a handful of personal clients, and then I guess 4 technically. But yeah, so that's basically what I'm doing now.
that's amazing. And I know when we first talked, you were telling me how you used to work for Gary Vee as well, and that's kind of how you started shifting forward to starting your own digital marketing empire, I guess, right?
Yeah, Gary was a fun experience. It was literally my first day. So I had to get there before all the other interns would get there because my sister had to get married while I had the internship. So I asked them, I was like, hey, I don't really want to do a shorter internship. Can I just come out earlier and leave earlier? And they said, yeah, sure. So then literally the first day I was there, I was just walking around the park right in front of the office. I was just walking around and just waiting for it to be time to go. And then I get to the office, and then one of the guys there, he said, hey, Hars, what do you want to do? And, today I was like, I don't know, look around the office, meet people, figure out what the heck I'm going to do. He's like, oh, well, Hulk Hogan is coming in 10 minutes. Do you want to be in the meeting with us? Like, wait, what? Hulk? He's like, yeah, Hulk. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Champion. Okay.
Yeah. I grew up watching him. I was like, yeah, I can do that. So then I thought it was going to be a little fly on the wall. And then literally Gary's walks in because he's very busy doing his thing. And he's kind of yelling at Hulk. He's like, Hulk, you got to do this. You got to do that. Hulk, you got to do this and that. I was like, oh, hold on, brother. And then, no, hold on. Horace, you're new here. Tell Hulk what he should do. I was like, I am Horace, yes. Oh, listen here, Hulk. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. But that was the start of the internship, which was fun.
That's amazing. So you were thrown into the fire in a sense, right? So Gary's just very push you in there, and you were just like, okay, this is what I think you should do.
Right. So it was fun though. It was a unique experience. And in the city, you never know who's sitting in front of you at the deli, who's behind you on the subway. It could be, someone chasing their dream with not a dollar in their pocket. And it could be some multi-billionaire who has some empire that you don't even know about.
Right.
And anything in between.
People in New York, you never know who you're gonna run into.
Never know. I mean, one day I was just walking to the office. I was on my phone because that's what people do in New York. They don't look up when they walk. So I caught on to the culture very fast. I was on my phone and I was just texting my boss saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be a little late." I look up. I was like, "Oh, Channing Tatum. Hey." I didn't really say hey. I was just like in my head. I was like, "Oh, hey, Channing." He's a big guy.
It's a different experience than in Nebraska, I'm assuming. So why'd you move there, just out of curiosity, after the New York experience?
Yeah, so I've been here. So my parents got their papers to go to America in 2001. And they kind of tell you where to go. You don't pick like Florida or some cool spot. They just tell you where to go. And we were told to go to Salt Lake City, Utah. And then my cousin was a foreign exchange student here in Omaha, Nebraska, and he was able to change the papers, and he had a valid reason for us to come here, not there. So then they just swapped the family that was supposed to come here, and they went to Salt Lake, and we came here.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's where you kind of just established yourselves and...
Yeah. Grew up. I was supposed to finish school after an internship at my university. I just never did. I took another class, and I was in there for like a day, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Writing was not your thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, stay put here though. I try to travel a lot. I'm in the middle, so it's easy to go East Coast, West Coast.
Right.
And it was always tricky, but
that's pretty cool. It seemed like you figured out your path just coming to this country and how you tried to kind of maneuver around it and see what you were passionate about versus doing the traditional route, which most people would do, going to school, getting a job, and then figuring out what they really want.
Mm-hmm. And that's what my parents always wanted too, because me and my sister are complete opposites. I guess me and my dad are alike. My sister and my mom are alike, and my sister and myself are completely opposites. Where she would cry if she got a 99 or 98 on a test because she didn't get the 100, and I would jump with joy if I got a 65 or above because I would pass, and I guessed 65% of the exam correctly. That's very hard to do. So I would jump with joy, and my parents were just, how do we address this? One cries when she gets a 98, one jumps with joy at a 65.
Complete total opposites, right?
Complete opposites.
That's funny. I can definitely say I wasn't the best student either, so I'm with you on the whole jumping for joy when you get like a C or something.
Right.
That's awesome. Tell me a little like fast forward then. You internship with Gary Vee, figured out what you wanted to do, then you kind of just stuck to running your own business, and now what? Like what would you say is your specialty, right, in your agency? Like what would you say is like the thing that your clients come to you for that you're good at?
Yeah, a couple things. I think I'm really good at humanizing automations, because sometimes people use automations and they just want something out of that automation versus building a relationship. I mean, we got introduced to each other through an automation, and then I use the automation to build a relationship, and that's why we're on this podcast together. And I get messages daily with people saying either, hey, this is a really clever automation, or it's a full-blown conversation. And I wake up the next day and I was like, whoa, I've been talking to this person all day long on like a bot, which is cool because then I get to understand who they are. And then I actually jump in there and respond and continue the conversation. I don't let the automation just take over my life. But social media marketing, obviously, since working with Gary, I had to learn YouTube very well. I had to learn Instagram very well. So those are big keys. Facebook advertising, I like to think I'm good at that.
So talk to me a little bit about the automation part. So I know when we first connected, you did an automation that was pretty cool. It was like just very like you did it. Like it wasn't like an automation role, which is funny because I can usually tell them like in a second because we do this, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was until later. I was like, oh wait, that was an automation. Wow, he got me. That's very So tell me a little bit more about the psychology behind it and like how you come up with these copies and what way were you trying to go, like how are you trying to phrase certain things to get them to respond? Is it only through connection of let's say through podcasts that you do this automation for, or do you also do it to getting more clients as well?
Sure, not so many more clients, just because I kind of have a full palette to say. For personal clients, my consultancy and social media agency, we're kind of growing the team. You got to grow the team, and then you get more clients because you can only take on so many because it's human capital. Uh, but the automation side of things, the way I approach it is instead of saying, someone's automation for, getting on podcasts would say, hey, I love your show. It's really cool. Will you have me on your podcast? And most people, junk, bye.
Right.
I said, hey, what's your favorite episode you've ever recorded on your show? I'd love to hear about it. They tell me, because everyone likes talking about themselves or their show or what they're doing.
Right.
So you ask them about something like what they're doing, and it gets them to respond because it's an actual conversation. Mm-hmm. So when you build an automation with anything, we'll just use podcasting as an example, is, hey, tell me about your favorite episode, or who was your favorite guest? Why did you start your podcast? What about, what drives you today about recording your own podcast? And then people will open up because people love talking about themselves. It's just human nature or what they're doing. And then you can build a relationship after they respond with, oh, hey, this person, Tony Hawk. I had Tony Hawk on my show and he was great. I loved him. Okay, cool. What about Tony Hawk made you love him? Right. What about him stuck out versus all the other guests you had on? I see on your show you have 332 episodes. What made the one stick out versus 321 guests? And they'll say, oh, well, I really love this piece. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'd love to get on a call with you to see, hear more about your show. Or I would say, hey, send me the link to the episode. I'd love to hear it. And I'd actually listen to the episode. A lot of people won't do that. And then, hey, well, what can I do to help your show? And they're, oh, well, would you mind giving me a review? So, oh, yeah, sure. I'd love to. I'll just review this one episode. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. And then I review it. And then I say, hey, you want to get on a call by chance to see what we can do together? And most people are like, well, yeah, because I've already given to them before asking anything.
I like that approach. I'm not used to doing that through online. I'm used to doing that on just through networking in general.
Right.
Like I network everywhere and anywhere, and I'm always like running around. But
yeah.
I see it be replicated through online versus me just reaching out to someone saying, hey, like manually, right? Like I would love to just get you on the show, or I love everything you're doing, and here's your content, blah blah blah. Like it's so your approach is really cool because now it's allowing you it's less of a I want to say like a cold approach. I mean, it is a cold approach, but it's not cold because you're doing it in a very warm and kind way.
Right.
You're trying to get to know them because you don't want to just get connected with anybody. So this is kind of cool. I like that you're specific in who you want to connect with, and you automate that, and it gives you a larger field to play with.
Yeah, it stinks though because you do have to put in a lot of time because sometimes people will say and talk about their show and then you get nothing out of it. But you have to look at it as like a big picture thing where you're building good relationships. I like to think we're building a great relationship. So, I've probably gone through, 20, 30 messages to get to this one good one. But that one good one is worth it to me.
Right. I mean, yeah, that I understand the time wasting part. But I mean, when you give, you just got to expect that sometimes you're not going to get anything in return. It's just to give, right? Because like you said, the wins are the best parts, right?
Right.
That's awesome. I really like that. Now let's fast forward a little bit. I know you said you are, from your experience with Gary Vee and the work that you've done with your clients, you're really good with YouTube and Instagram. So talk to us a little bit about that. Let's start with Instagram. Tell me what your little like secrets are and how to get Instagram popping, I guess.
Yeah. So in the last 2-3 months, I have tested literally every single bot with my approach. I've tested every algorithm trick, every type of photo, Instagram lives, Instagram stories. I've tested everything. And then I found what works. And then now I outsource it. I'm from Bosnia, so I outsource it to my team there. I like to outsource back home. It makes me feel better. Yeah. So I learned what works. And then I just outsource it to the team. Say, hey, I found out this is what works. Can we implement this? And then I kind of let them run with it because I'm not a micromanager. I just tell them, hey, I learned that this works. Let's run with it until you find a better way.
Right.
So some of the tools I've learned, and I've tested this thoroughly. One app is called When to Post. Okay. It's not App Store. It's just When to Post. It tells you when not to post, when to post. Obviously, it has a big red bar that says do not post, or it says post. It tells you best times today to post. I'm looking at mine right now. It says I can post today at 10:30 or 10:15 a.m., 10 p.m., or 10:30 p.m. That's when my audience is best engaged.
is the algorithm, so, okay, so is it based on each person's profile because depending on who's following them, or is it?
Yeah.
Anyways?
No, so it takes it a couple minutes to analyze your audience,
Okay.
who's following you, when they're the most active, and then it gets an average, and then it gives you graphs.
Okay.
What days are the best for you to post? What times are the best for you to post? When you should not post. So that app is great.
So it's
And
to post.
when to post.
Oh,
Yep.
when to post. Oh, duh.
Right.
I
And
thought when to post. It's like, okay, that's a different name.
yeah, no, when to post.
Okay, got it. When to post. Got it.
And it's free, which is the best part. I think
Oh,
you can pay for more analytics. I don't remember if I am paying or not. I know I paid for everything I could possibly, but I don't know if I'm still subscribed to it or not.
mhm.
But yeah, it's a free tool, and then you can pay to get more analytics, I believe.
So when to post. Okay, so I'll make sure to put, actually afterwards I'll ask you, but I'll make sure to put in the info and resources people can look at.
Yeah.
You mentioned. Okay. And
So,
so, go ahead, keep going.
oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're the expert, so what's
Yeah.
next? When to post. All right, so that's a really good one because I know a lot of people are always asking me, hey, what are the best times? And I'm like, listen, you just got to know your people and when they're on and play with it. But I never knew there was a tool out there, so that's amazing.
Yeah, you can learn your people or just use data. I'm a data junkie because I only post things that I know are being searched for. I only post when I know my audience is going to be live. I use a lot of data behind what I do.
So you said something important, right? That you said you only post what people search for. So if, let's say, someone's starting out on Instagram with their brand, how can they? What resources do you use to figure out what do people actually like? What's trending, basically, and how to know what to post out there that's based off the trends versus you just Google.
Yeah, so there's hashtags. So if you have a smaller audience and you use a hashtag like entrepreneur that has 120 million posts,
okay,
you're not going to rank well. If you have over 30 hashtags, Instagram's algorithm is just going to ignore your post completely. So you want 29 or less. Otherwise, you just put a lot of research and time into doing a bunch of hashtags that aren't going to be read on the algorithm. But if you have a smaller audience, you should find hashtags that have smaller searches. So if you have, let's say, 1,000 followers, you should find hashtags that have between 5 to 15,000 searches.
Okay, got it.
Not more than that, because you want smaller audiences. And then as your profile grows, you should use bigger hashtags. And that way,
bigger dogs says you have the followers.
Right. And then the algorithm works and it says, oh, okay, cool. We're posting, your audience is growing, you're using bigger posts, your content is being engaged with. We'll give you, rankings, which is great. So there's that. There's another data tool I like called Warriorz Tracker.
Okay.
We'll link it in the show, but it's just a detailed report of who's following you. How many more followers do you have today than you did yesterday or last week? How many unfollowed you? How many of your followers you are not following, and same vice versa. It's just a big data tool. It's just good to know. It's also free. They have really annoying ads that take up your whole screen that are super unrelevant.
Right.
But if you can deal with that, it's free. If that's annoying, you can just pay for it. I don't know the price, but if you just pay for it, you can get rid of those ads. But the tool is free. The next one I'm sure you've used is Cut Story. If you have a video that's over 15 seconds, Instagram cuts off the video and just posts the first 15 seconds of your video.
Really?
Yeah. Cut Story, they might have an update, but since last week, it still cuts it off. So now Cut Story actually splices your videos into 15-second segments, and then you just upload those individually to Instagram.
Your Instagram story or your Instagram?
Story.
Oh, okay.
It's just your story.
All right. Sorry, I was going to say, I thought you at least got a minute, but okay, no.
No. Story. I should have clarified. Good catch.
Listening. So that's awesome. So, all right. So these are really cool little tricks and hacks that you can start using to help grow your brand. And what else would you say is totally necessary when it comes to branding yourself on Instagram? Is it how aesthetic is it? The aesthetics, like, does it matter? I know a lot of my viewers always ask me, like, what about the name or the brand of my profile and all these things? Like, how, does that matter, or should I just start posting content and make it raw? Like, what works?
Yeah, so it depends. I like partnering up with people with similar followers. So if you have 5,000 followers or 50,000 followers or 5 million followers, partnering up with people of similar, follower counts and giving each other shout outs.
Okay.
It's great because you win, I win. We both win that way if we give each other shout outs. And one way you can do it, if you don't have a relationship and you don't know the person and you want to buy a shout out, is an Instagram calculator. There are many out there. Just Googling Instagram calculator and plug in their name. It'll tell you how engaged the audience is. So if they have, I was going to do a shout out. I made a video and I was going to do a shout out. And I had two choices. I had one with 3.5 million followers and a friend connected me to them. And then I had one with 250,000 followers.
So these are people that are going to do a shout out for you.
Right, on their story.
And you would pay them to do that, basically.
Right. Okay. So I said, okay, cool. So I wanted to test it to see which one will work. And then I used my Instagram calculator and I saw that the one with millions of followers, their engagement was like 0.01. It was awful.
They bought it, right?
Yeah, it was not good. But they were charging me for the 3 million or whatever followers they had. And then I said, okay, cool. And then the one with 250,000 had an engagement rate of like 13%, which is 3 to 5% is average. With profiles of above 1 million, it's really hard to get anything above 2%. But 1 to 2% with those profiles is average. But using an Instagram calculator, I saw, okay, I'd rather pay less to get in front of a more engaged audience than this, one with millions of people.
I like that. Because you're strategically picking who you want to call you, who you want to do the shout out. You know what I'm trying to say, basically. Who want? I can't speak. Basically, you're looking for the right person to do the shout out for you, and you chose one, even though it's less followers, but you understood that the other one bought it basically because it has an engagement. Okay.
Yeah, but back to your question, it's about aesthetics. It's about using tools like a line breaker. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you post on Instagram, and you have breaks and lines, you have your post, and then you do a line break and another post. Instagram just makes it all one big paragraph, and it's super clunky. There's a tool called Line Breaker. It automatically breaks up your text. This is the way I post on Instagram. So I have my graphics person, and if you don't have a graphics person, it's okay. Canva is a free tool. Automatically gives you your sizes. Yeah, you're familiar with it. It gives you your sizes for Instagram, and then you don't have to be a graphic designer to use Canva. It's actually pretty simple once you work with it for a week or two.
It gives you templates and stuff, so it makes it so much easier.
So easy. But yeah, you just go to Canva and do it. But once you have your photo, I actually look at my photo and I open Notepad on either my phone or my laptop, and then I write my post. Once I write my post, I'll copy that and I'll put it into the line breaker. And then I'll bold. This is what I just found out last week, is I can bold the first line, and it'll actually put the text next to my name. So it gives me a little bit more real estate before someone has to click see more.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll copy that and they'll post it.
Okay. All right. And you do this through Canva, you said?
The line breaker is not through Canva. It's a really weird URL. I'll send it to you. It's appsforlifehost.com/Instagram.
Okay.
Right.
Sending it to me would be much appreciated. Thank you.
I will definitely send it to you. But yeah, it's all about aligning with your brand. If you want to be kind of the Gary Vee, it's great. You can post motivational type stuff, but people like to laugh as well. Posting memes is working really well. Just being authentic, being you. Not everything has to be super serious. Sometimes people want to build this profile and just grind. It's all about working hard. And no, I can have drinks with friends. I mean, we have the College World Series here. I'm going to go out with friends. It's fun. There's tents out everywhere. It's a big festival. I'll have fun. I mean, I'm 25. You're allowed to have fun as an entrepreneur.
Right.
So, people get too serious about it and want to just post like, oh, I'm always working.
Yeah.
No, you're not. And if you do, you'll burn out. You can't sustain it. And I sleep 8 hours a night now because I realize that I'm way better off than when I used to sleep 5.
Right, right. I mean, it's really knowing who you are too, right? I mean,
Right.
when you understand what you and your body can take, that's when you should know whether that lifestyle works for you, grinding all the time, or maybe the going out and having a little bit of fun once a weekend might be better for you because you can actually get through the week, right? So it's really just understanding who you are and what
Mm-hmm.
works for you, right? So everyone has, there's all this type of advice out there. So I'm just like, so it's so much advice out there that sometimes you have to just listen to yourself because I think that's the best person to get all the answers from anyway.
Yeah. And exactly to your point, you have to know who you are and be very self-aware. Okay, I need a day off a week. Oh, I need 2 days off a week. I'm not productive in the morning. You just have to know yourself.
Right, right. I like that. No, I agree. I'm with you 100%. So I like that. Being authentic and showing your true voice on Instagram is the best brand you can have.
Mhm.
So that's good. And so all those tools to help you with the stories, to
Yeah.
hashtags and what's trending. What else? Anything else that we need to know about Instagram that's we might not really be aware of?
No, I mean, I think between those tools and shout out tools, I'm happy to send you kind of my shout out video if anyone wants to mimic it or come up with something similar, whatever. Uh, Having those and realizing how to use those bots. That's another thing we didn't touch on is the bots, because I did use bots. My team uses it now, but I taught them my approach to automations. Versus you'll see so many pages saying, "Hey, I love your page. DM me, let's connect." And you're like, nah.
Right, right. It's really annoying.
Yeah. So what I did was I used a bot, and this worked really well. It was a ton of time, but it was worth it. Um, but I would use a bot, and I would say, hey, I used something along the lines of I tried to humanize it, and I said, hey, I really love this post. It brought a lot of value. I'm gonna send you a direct message, and that kind of worked, but not really. So I was like, okay, cool. Why is Instagram being tricky? Because I have automations on Facebook, LinkedIn, emails, and they work well, but I need to figure out something for Instagram.
Right.
Okay, people know it's a bot. How can I use that? So then I made a bot and I said, hey, I'm Horace's bot. He's trained me to find the coolest pages, and I really like yours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a DM. I'm gonna connect you and Horace, and then you guys can take it over from there because you have a cool page.
You're being upfront. It's like whatever. I like that.
Yeah, and people love it. They're like, "LOL, I loved your bot." I was like, "Thank you."
Okay, I might have to steal that. That's pretty good. I like that.
It
I'm
worked.
still manually trying to reach out to people I think are really cool, but I guess I like that bot idea because it just saves your life basically.
Yeah, it does. I also go through people's profiles. I still do the manual work. Well, I guess my team does it now, but I still have the manual labor of going through profiles and saying, okay, cool. They'll post something and my bot will like or comment on it. And then I'll actually go through their profile and I'll say, okay, cool. I actually like this, caption, and I'm gonna have a genuine response to it, and I'll like their photo, and then I'll do that for 3 or 4 photos. And if they follow back or comment back or engage with me in the DMs, cool. If they don't, they don't.
Right, right. But I like that. I like that. I like that approach. It's definitely a faster way than doing everything manually, but it gives you an opportunity to also do things your own way as well. I like that a lot. It's pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So what about YouTube then? I know with YouTube, I don't know if that's tricky or not. See, because with my marketing agency, we only, like I told you, focus on lead gen. It's never branding. So I'm curious to what you would say about YouTube and what
Yeah.
might you know about it a little bit more.
Yeah. YouTube. It's the well, I won't say the most attractive. It's the hardest one to master. But once you do, people connect because of people's content. And a lot of big players are going to connect to each other without ever knowing each other. But they say, hey, I love your content online. Let's connect. Someone connected me, and I don't have a ton of content online. I'm working on it now. But someone connected me, and they're like, oh, I've seen your content online. I really love it. I'm so happy we're finally connecting. I was like, wait, what? You've seen my stuff? Cool.
It's a really nice compliment when people tell you that. It's cool, especially when
Right. Especially when my stuff is more hidden because I have it more on Vimeo where I liked being the ghost, but now I realize I have to build kind of that. We had this talk last week. I have to build that, personality and the brand. So I have to start utilizing YouTube. And the biggest thing with YouTube, it's not even talking about, putting out great content. It's learning the algorithm and positioning a really cool thumbnail. Because a lot of people will make amazing thumbnails. Amazing thumbnails. Let's just say you have your face and you have kind of like a blue and yellow gradient background with some text.
Right.
And your phrase is how entrepreneurs win in 2019. Okay, first, that's a super broad subject. It's going to be very hard to rank. And let's say the first 30 videos on there, this is very unlikely, it's just an example though, all have a blue and red thumbnail with a face and text.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. So the way this is my complete approach to YouTube, and it works, is I actually find, so we have our content, I have the video, we kind of have our angle, and I have to come up with the strategy, the thumbnail text and the text of the title of the video itself, because those are two different things. Because I want people sliding through, okay, cool, I saw the thumbnail text, so I'm going to read the title text next, and then I'll decide if I want to click. If they're the same thing, you're kind of losing real estate.
So you're saying that you would whatever the title is of the video is going to be different from whatever the title is on the
thumbnail. Completely different, because those are that's different real estate, right? Because you have either on your phone or your laptop or whatever, you have that space and then you have the title. You utilize both to get catchy catchy titles on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing it wrong. I'm putting the whatever the title is of the video, I'm putting it on the thumbnail. And I'm and actually I just had this talk with someone yesterday, one of my marketing friends, and they were like, listen, like your thumbnails are good, but there's so much that's like, you already have the title next to it. Don't put it on the thumbnail too, because there's so much writing. Like you don't need to type as well.
There's a ton, but when you come up with it, and the way I do it, this is a paid tool, but it's called Ahrefs.
What is it called?
Ahrefs.
Oh, I know Ahrefs. It's used for SEO stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Google owns YouTube, so if you search for things that are searched on Google, Google will rank you based on what you use. You'll also be ranked on YouTube. They have boxes where you can pick either Google or YouTube searches. But you can search tools that are being searched often. And then what I do is if I find a keyword or a phrase that's being searched often, I'll actually go into YouTube, type in that title, and I'll see how old the content is in that title. So let's say I type in, bad example, entrepreneurship in 2019. I'm sure there's hundreds of videos.
Right.
But let's just say we type in the mindset it takes to build a podcast. Or the 5 tools you need to build a podcast. And we see that the newest video is a year older. Then the next video is like a year and a half. Then we have 3 years and then 5 years, and it just keeps going backwards. There's no new content on that phrase. I'll say, okay, cool. There's no new content. If I put up some piece of content, YouTube will reward me, because even if it's not as good of content or it's not getting as much engagement or viewers, YouTube will rank me just because it's new. Because nothing has, in a year's time, 12 months, it's a content engine.
That's interesting, because on Google, when you have more content and your website's been out for a while, SEO-wise, it's phenomenal because it actually helps your SEO.
Right.
With YouTube, if the phrase you're trying to rank for, there hasn't been a lot of new content or a lot of content on it that's new, it ranks you higher.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So then once you have your phrase, by using Ahrefs and other tools, you have your title, you have to come up with a catchy thumbnail.
Right.
Because now you just type it on YouTube, you see all the other videos, and you say, okay, cool, how do I stand out with this group? You want to take the top 10, 15 thumbnails. You say, okay, how do I stick out in this group of videos?
Right.
What works really well right now is just a plain background. If someone can see your face and your eyes, those convert really well. For some reason, we've tested it.
Your face and eyes, like the host.
Either anybody's. So if it's like us, they would want to see our faces and our eyes.
Oh, versus like a thumbnail, like an actual thumbnail, like that's an infographic. Is this what I'm getting at? I don't know.
Yeah. People want to see faces and eyes. Those convert really well with plain backgrounds and text.
Okay. All right.
That's right now. That's what's working.
Better than just putting an infographic, like just like a thumbnail picture of the face and the wording next to it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I do that for my trailer videos, like my little preview 30 seconds to a minute. But I
Yeah.
don't for my YouTube videos. Now I'm thinking I don't know why I never did that, because the Instagram posts that I have the little mini trailers to the actual interview
Right.
get more views. They just get more views naturally. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then for tags, you want your description, actually, before we go into tags, you want your descriptions. So if you have playlists, so if you have your interviews, you want, your interviews in one playlist, and you want those to follow a certain formula, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be, this is the end all be all formula. If you look at one of Gary's videos, or Peter Boog is one of the brands I work with, if you watch one of our descriptions, you can see how I make it and just copy and tweak. But for interviews, it's typically I put, hey, on this episode of whatever the show name is, the show host's name, interviews, the guest's name. And then I say, the guest is known for, I'll put their bio in, and I'll say, on this show, we cover, 2 to 3 bullet points, but I make those bullets emojis. Right? More fun.
Right. It's for the eyes.
Right. And then I'll post 2 or 3, and then I'll say, last emoji and much more. And then I'll put more information about how to get to the contact, the host, more information on the show, other websites, the Instagram for the show, whatever. That's kind of the formula.
Keeping it consistent for your viewers.
And what I've been testing lately is, do I put the description right under, guest, the name of the show, podcast guest name, and then I put, on this show we talk about these certain things, because then you don't have to hit see more, because then those 2 or 3 bullet points will pop up automatically without hitting see more, versus the description. So I'm testing, versus their bio, so I'm testing which one of those will work better, because the less people have to work to read, the better.
Right.
And it teases them. So I do that, and then the last thing I'll touch on for YouTube is I use a tool called Rapid Tags. If you just put in your title, which you already have, into Rapid Tags, it's a free tool. It'll generate tags for you. They're not all great, but
Rapid tags.
Yeah, but they'll give you ideas. And sometimes I use all of them. Sometimes I use 50% of them. Sometimes I use 2 of them. But then if I can't find a bunch, I'll change my title in Rapid Tags. I won't change my title in the actual video. I just want it to generate different types of tags.
Okay.
And then I'll generate more tags that are more relevant. And then I'll also do misspellings. So Gary Vee always gets misspelled. Gary space V. Gary Vee gets misspelled. People don't put the 2 E's, so we would put Gary space V-E, Gary space V-E-E, Gary space just the letter V. So no matter what they're searching for, misspellings are big on YouTube. People will misspell, and you want to rank for your misspellings too.
That's actually smart. I didn't even think about that.
Like, mine gets misspelled. Your name gets misspelled.
Yeah. People put in the real heel, the real, like Hadeel. Like, it's just, I didn't even think about that. That's smart. I like that a lot. That's really, really smart. Okay. Very cool.
And you rank on that too.
So then my question to you is, how much should people be posting on Instagram and YouTube? What would you say is the good amount to post? 3 times a week, 5 times a week, maybe 2 times a week? What's a good amount where it's not going to piss people off?
Yeah. Well, if you're putting out good content that's relevant and what they like, you're not pissing them off. You're doing them a favor by posting. Right. That's a misconception people have. It's like, I don't want my stuff making people mad. Versus I'm posting and I say, well, they're following me. Why wouldn't I be posting? If they don't like what I post, unfollow. It's easy. It's 2 buttons. Boom, boom, done. Unfollow. But I like to think I give great content. Mine's I have funny memes. I have good content. I have business advice, business tactics. That's the audience I want to build. So if you don't want to be a part of that, unfollow.
Right.
People get butthurt about followers and unfollowers versus just go. But I will say this: it's not about making people upset. If you're only posting once a month, don't all of a sudden, because of this podcast, post 5 times a week. Right. You will run out of content in 2 weeks. And then you're like, what do I do? If you're only posting like once a month or once a week, try to double it. If you're posting once a month, do twice a month. And then if you're doing once a week, do twice a week. Just double it. Make sure you have enough content to double it. Be a week or two ahead of your content calendar. But don't overdo it in the very first week or two because, hey, it's hard. Coming up with good captions is hard. Coming up with good content is hard. So if you're posting every day, I've heard some people suggest 2 or 3 times a day, where I'm like, I have a lot of advice, but no.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to do that.
Because people can't keep up either. It's a
No.
lot.
So I said, no. I like posting 2 or 3 times a week. I use when to post app to schedule that. I also just got a new app and it allows me to schedule posts. So then I'll start sitting here and I'll just do it on a Sunday. I'll schedule all my posts and it'll just automatically publish them. So that's easy. I wish I could know the name of it. I think it's called like Publishly or something. I'll send you a link to it. I'm also just testing it, so I can't really endorse it just yet.
Is this for posting for YouTube?
This is for Instagram, sorry.
Oh, interesting. Because I use it's an app called a software called Only Pult. You might know something better, but Only Pult's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you haven't seen it. What I like about it, so you know how on Instagram you want to post and then you have to put that first comment in, where you put the ... and then you put the hashtags. So Only Pult allows you not only to schedule it and put everything you want, but it also lets you put that first comment. So now you don't have to because I remember when I was back in the day doing content for my clients, I always have to have one of my girls go and like put the first comment just to put the hashtags, but Only Pult actually lets you set it up ahead of time. Yeah. Which I like a lot. And it's cheap. It's like $15 a month, I think, for like 3 to 5 accounts.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, $15 saves you time.
Yeah.
Some people, it takes time to post. And especially the way I do it. Oh.
It's tedious. It's so tedious. So any software out there that I can use to save me time, I'm happy to do it and I'm happy to pay for it.
Right. So that's an awesome app. I'll check it out if you can send it to me after.
I will, yes.
But yeah, for YouTube posting, make sure you have enough content. Don't go and post one video and then take 2 months sabbatical.
Yeah.
Have content. It's okay most people haven't even posted on YouTube or haven't started a channel. Use Canva to get all the cover art if you don't have a team, or Fiverr. People are cheap. You can outsource all that stuff to get really cool graphics, but you can do it yourself in Canva for free. But get your content out first. Have, weeks of content ready to go for YouTube before you actually publish your first video. Otherwise, you're just going to be out of content again, and you'll gain momentum, and then it'll just stop on the algorithm, and then you have to gain that momentum again.
Sounds like just really being consistent and having that plan.
Consistency. It's a consistency over everything.
No, I agree with you 100% because that's actually that's what's gonna help you even utilize all these tools that you're sharing. So, and get good results out of them, right? So. Yeah,
of course.
That's awesome. So tell me. So let's switch gears. So now that we have all your secrets and how to grow Instagram and YouTube, tell us a little bit more about you in a personal side. So, what were your fears going into entrepreneurship, or maybe even like in entrepreneurship? What were a few fears that you had that maybe you're still mastering, it's what you're trying to do now that you really need to master to help you get to the next level?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any fears I've ever really had. I've always been scared of what life will be like if I don't go after it. Because if I'm not doing this, I'm not helping people. I'm not building something that matters. I'm not, I've written 3 books. I didn't write 3 books so I can say, oh, look at me, I'm an author. I wrote 3 books because it'll last way longer than I will. And I can keep giving long after, because we never know when we're going to pass. But I know that the books will last forever. I think I'm in a couple Barnes and Nobles. I'm in some airports, which will be cool. Like, go to an airport and like, oh, look at me. That'll probably never happen, but it'd be cool if it did. But I want to do things that matter long after I'm gone, and I want to build an impact. Money is cool, but I know a lot of people that are worth a lot of money that are very unhappy and hide behind a bottle of vodka every night. That's not what I want. But they have all the money they want. They can, they're worth hundreds of millions. They've traveled the world. They've bought all the nice cars, but then what? Yeah, so money is great, and you do need money. Don't get me wrong, because like I have a team, they would like to eat and be able to pay for their houses, which is a lot of pressure. So that kind of scares me because I have to like support people, and if I don't find a way to support people, like this is bad. When it's just you, it's easy because then it's just you sacrificing, which is easy. But when you have people on payroll, you're like, oh, I have to pay these people, and they're doing good work.
Mhm.
That's kind of nerve wracking. But besides that, there's not really many fears. I mean, personally, I have hobbies. I do mixed martial arts. So in business, they say that you figuratively get knocked down. Well, in like combat sports, you literally get knocked down and have to get up.
It's not as,
So if someone, what's that?
it's not as fearful anymore. You don't get so
No.
scared.
Right. And I mean, the first time I ever got in the ring, I was clueless. So I had this big ego where and I still think I do, where if you put King Kong in front of me in business or in the fight world, I think I'll beat him, no matter what. Yeah. So I went in there, one guy, like stereotypical fighter looking guy. He has tattoos, big guy. He has to spar, but it wasn't in a nice way. And sparring is just like a little contact. It's nothing hard. But this was older. His generation sparring is fighting. So he was asking me to fight. And I was like, yeah, I'll spar you. Let's go. Put on my glove. I bought gloves at the front desk. I bought this double mouth guard, which opens your jaw wider for people that don't know what it does. It makes it hard to breathe, opens your jaw wider. And little did Horace know that this guy was the number 22 best light heavyweight in the entire world.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So I literally kept getting my butt kicked. He actually broke, or he didn't break it. He dislocated my jaw. So if I ever get hit here, I can't, and I hope none of my opponents ever listen to this, but I can't close it for 2 or 3 days fully, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is. But literally, I kept coming back. And I knew that if I can keep doing this and I keep coming back, and I have that gut feeling of like, I'm Rocky. There's nothing this man can do to me, which I'm sure there could have been a lot of things he could have done to me, but I would have kept coming no matter what. I know that nothing in business will scare me ever.
I love that. I also I do Krav Maga a lot.
Oh, cool.
A week, and
Nice.
one thing about Krav Maga taught me was to be extremely fearless on when you walk in, and what it also taught me, not only about being fearless, but it taught me how to be humble in the process and why you need to be humble, right? Why you should let go of the ego when you walk into a fight, because what I found is that I mean, I initially did it for many reasons. I mean, for like self-defense and just making sure I can protect myself and all that stuff, but also, anger. Like, when you're running your own business, there's a lot of things you have to deal with, and it's hard. It's a lot of pressure. So to release that through fighting is the best way. I mean, people do yoga. I prefer Krav Maga, right? So it's all different, right?
Everyone's one
Everything's different, but what I like what you said is that when you know how to literally understand how to get back up from getting knocked out, that's like the biggest thing. So
That is the biggest thing.
it teaches you definitely how to do that, and in the process of when you understand what it means to fight and how it feels like, you choose not to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Krav Maga is built to kill, they always say we're teaching you how to, although it's everything we're teaching you can kill someone, we want you to hit and run, because that's the ultimate winning of the fight. It's not about killing someone. So
Yeah, I mean, I've done that. Everyone has their own release somehow, some way, especially in this crazy entrepreneur world that we're in. We have such high stresses. I mean, one of my friends told me we went out just for a couple drinks last Thursday, and then a couple drinks turned into like 1 a.m. and we were struggling the next day. And then he said, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm going to sleep in a little bit till I feel better. Man, I wish I had your life. I was like, why? He's like, well, you control your own schedule. You do what you want when you want. Like, you make money even when you don't work because you have your team. So, like, I just want that. I was like, you do? Well, most people do, but no one wants to go through like the 10 plus years that I've gone through to get to that. It's so hard. Like, you've been there. It's so hard.
yeah,
The road is hard. And I mean, physically, I don't know if I've ever told, I don't think I've ever shared this on any other podcast either. No, I don't think I've never shared this. Only like my friend circle and Facebook friends know this. But a long time ago, I got really big because I broke my foot. I was dating this girl. She ended up being Miss Teen Nebraska. I thought I was doing good in business. My mentor offered me like my dream job. I would fly around the world with her. She had a private jet, so I get to jet set, do all that stuff. I get to be an entrepreneur. I get to see what it's like at the top. I was like, okay, I'm gonna love this opportunity. Well, that opportunity crumbled. She broke up with me. I broke my foot, and I partially detached my retina. And I was like, life just stinks.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. So I can't do much. My girlfriend just left me. My dream job with like the person, it wasn't like a dream job because I never wanted a job, but it would have been a great experience. Everything kind of crumbled. I went into a really dark place, which I'm sure many entrepreneurs go to at one point or another. And I just kind of let go of myself, and I got really heavy. I got close to like 290, I think. It was really bad. I didn't care about business. I was a bad person to be around. I wasn't good to my friends. I was just horrible. And I said, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're in control of your own life. Cool. She left you. It wasn't meant to be. That opportunity wasn't meant to be. Your foot, well, maybe it's better this way. Maybe it's better this way. It'll teach you toughness.
Right.
So I was like, man, I gotta fix this. But I don't have time because I just lost a lot of time getting to where I am. It's like, man, I gotta fix this. So in 12 weeks' time, I lost 70 pounds.
Wow. In 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
That's amazing.
That is crazy.
I
lost
a year to lose, by the way.
What's that?
It takes people a year to lose 70 pounds, and you did it in 12 weeks.
When I hear these stories of people that say like, oh, I lost 20 pounds in the last year, I was like, cool. And not comparing apples to apples, but I was like, man, what I did was nuts.
What'd you do? Please do share.
I hired a coach, which was A. She made me work out at 6 a.m., which was awful. She made me do extra stuff. So like she had the class workout, and then she had Horace's workout. So the class would have to do like, I don't know, 20 med ball slams. Horace would have to do 50. They do 1 mile runs. I'd have to do 3. Like, it was awful. The first workout, I literally went back to my apartment, laid on my floor. I was like, I can't breathe. This stinks. But worked out a bunch. I didn't cheat once on my diet for 3 months. I literally did everything like you're supposed to do to a T. And then my body just stopped cutting weight. I was doing all this for a Muay Thai fight. And I wanted to be a regional champion. So the people will fly around, all around the Midwest for this tournament. I think they had like 1,000 fighters there. And one guy, he helped me. He shouldn't have messaged me, but he had one fight. And he had this whole fighter website. And he's an amateur. And he had this whole profile of like, how he's like this top-notch fighter. I was like, man, I want to fight this guy. He messages me. He says, I hope you're getting ready. I hope you're staying ready because I'm coming for you. I was like, oh, God, this guy. I was like, please give me him. And then I had to cut 20 pounds 10 hours before my fight. So in the UFC, which if you're not familiar with it, it's the top organization for mixed martial arts. If you faint one time, they call a doctor and they call off the whole fight. And this is a professional fighter that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars for a fight that they promoted for months. And if they faint once, they call off the fight. I fainted 3 times. Yeah. To the point where
the first time.
Why didn't I stop?
No, why didn't they call? Because you said if you faint.
Oh, this wasn't the UFC. This was just me, my friend. Yeah, but at the highest level, if you faint.
Yeah. Okay. All right, got you.
Yeah, at the highest level, if you faint once, they call it off. But I fainted 3 times. It was just me and my friend. He said, hey, man, I think I went to the bathroom just to release because that's the easiest way to cut weight, besides just sitting in the sauna sweating. So I tried to, and I just remember falling. I don't remember how I fell. I just woke up on the ground. I was like, whoa, hello. My friend said, hey, maybe we should call it off. And I said, I am not calling it off. You can go home, though. Like, you don't want to watch. I get it. I appreciate the help. Thank you. But I'm not stopping. He's like, no, you're going to end up in the hospital. I was like, well,
right.
It is what it is. And I did not give up. And then I made the scale, literally fell on my back, called my dad. It was my very first phone call. And I didn't have a voice. I mean, I didn't have water or food for like 3 days. I was like, Dad, I made it. He's like, what? I made it. And then I get to the scale, and then the guy that's been messaging me all this silly fight stuff, like, oh, you better be training. I see him at the weigh-ins, and I'm completely depleted, but I'm giving him like this crazy look, like I'm coming after you. Like the hard part is done. We are fighting. Unfortunately, I didn't get to fight him, which I wish I did. But it was a tournament, so they pick who you fight. And I was so dead in the fight. Like I couldn't even throw a punch without like losing my breath completely. Meanwhile, this other guy is just trying to take off my head.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know if I want to compete professionally in a fight, but I just want to prepare in case something happens. That's
Yeah.
but it's a cool story because like that's intense. I mean,
Yeah.
being ready for preparing for a fight is not easy. I've seen some of the guys in my like class, just doing Krav Maga, and they compete professionally for UFC, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're doing, but it's intense. It's very intense.
It's super intense. I mean, for my Muay Thai fight, these UFC fighters came in, and they're all like the stereotypical like tattoo fighter looking, scary looking guys. 3 of them came in, and the rest of the gym just cleared out. They were all fighting on the same card as me, and I was like, well, I'm not leaving. Let's go.
Right.
But I remember one of them. I've never been knocked down in my life, like in a fight. Like in my actual fight, the guy didn't knock me down or knock me out. But a week before, I broke my rib, or I didn't break it. It turns inwards now. But I remember like trying to protect it, and this guy just hits me, and he's one of my best friends now. But he hits me with, he pulls me in, and I'm just protecting my rib because I didn't want it to get hit. So my face was open. He just knees me as hard as he can. I fall to the ground. I don't remember anything, but I remember my coach saying, "Get up, Warriorz, let's go." I was like, "Okay, I'm up." I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." But that's the mentality. Right? Same thing in business. No matter what, like I'm not the only one like this. I think entrepreneurs, we're all a special breed. We're all that. You physically get knocked down, we'll all get up. Like we are 1%ers, I guess, theoretically, because we pick the hardest thing in the world to do. And we don't pick it, it picks us. But we, as the 1%ers, are a family, and we all see the same things. We all feel the same ways. We all go through the same things a different way. And we all try to stick together and support each other as best as possible versus, oh, you have a social media agency? Oh, we're a competition. I should try to tear you down. No, why? We can help build each other. Like we're all in this together. Why get knocked down and knock it up? Let's just figure it out together.
Agreed. And I mean, you basically answered the question I was going to ask you about. I was going to say, what's your definition of a warrior? Which I definitely want to hear that. But after it was, what situations you had to go through that made you achieve that title of a warrior? But I think I might already know what that answer is. But so just tell me, I guess, first of all, amazing story. I definitely feel for you in many ways, as I went through in a different sport, but I definitely understand the struggle of coming from something that tore you down completely, but you never gave up in the process of it. So that's phenomenal. So
Yeah.
after going through that hard situation, what is your definition of a warrior?
Someone that just keeps going. I mean, we're all in it together. You don't have to physically be getting knocked down by some really crazy looking guy with tattoos. Soccer, you can be, the underdog. You can be the 12th person on the bench of your basketball team. Or I'm not familiar with baseball or softball, so I can't give a good analogy. I wish I could. But whatever there is, there are always stipulations. There's always someone better than you. There's always, someone more talented. Definition of warrior is someone who just keeps going to the gym. I don't know if you're familiar with Steph Curry, but his story fascinates me. It just fascinates me. Have you heard his story about Kobe Bryant when he got invited to the training camp?
About Kobe Bryant's story, going to a training camp?
No. Steph Curry's story about going to Kobe's training camp when Steph was in high school. So Steph, he was he's still a small relative, like for an NBA basketball player. Yeah. And he was the smallest player there. He was kind of like the scrawny little guy. No one gave a shot at being anything. And this was just in high school.
Right.
And he said, okay, cool. He didn't listen to any of them. Before Kobe's invitation is super selective. You have to be the best of the best to get there. And he said, okay, cool. They all doubt me. I'm going to swish 500 shots. Not in a row, because that's almost impossible. But I'm going to swish 500 shots before anyone gets to the practice. And then after practice, which is grueling, and I'm sure he had 0% energy left, I'm going to switch 500 more.
Wow.
Every day. I don't know how long the camp was. I assume it was a week or two. But he did this every day. And Kobe Bryant's camp is not easy. I've heard stories. People puke.
Right. It's intense. I mean, Kobe Bryant himself
is intense.
His mindset is intense. Everything about him is intense. So.
But Steph's mindset, when he's at zero, like his fuel tank is zero.
Right.
Swish 500. And you can cheat because there's no one else in the room. So if it touches the rim, no one would know but Steph.
Right. But
He
he
said
was
no.
going to give up. Yeah. That's a
No.
word.
That's a warrior. Someone that just keeps going, and he kept going before practice, after practice, and he did this without any acknowledgement. That's what a warrior is. You don't need acknowledgement to keep going. You just keep doing it.
Right.
You keep doing the podcast. You keep interviewing people. You keep growing your Instagram. You keep doing all this consistently over time, and things will just start lining up.
Right. I'm with you on that one. I love that. Because at the end of the day, it's the ultimate win is when you've mastered yourself, to be honest. Mastered yourself in your own success and your own happiness, internally and externally for yourself. So that's what I see it as, and I love your definition. That's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, Horace, listen, everything you've given us in this podcast has been amazing. I'm so excited to put this out there, and so for people to listen to and just learn from, and I'm excited to see what their comments are about it as well, because I know people are going to have 1,000 questions. But thank you for everything that you shared. One last question. Where can we find you? I know I'll have everything in the caption, but I'd love to just for you to share this in the video.
Yeah, Instagram is probably the easiest place. It's just Haris, HARIS _ Reis, REIS. I'm growing that from 500 to 50,000 followers in 365 days. I'm documenting how I'm doing it so then someone else can do it. So yeah, if someone wants to give me a follow on there, I know we're connected on there as well. That's probably the easiest way. Email business@harisreis.com works as well. That actually goes to me, and my team just gets CC'd on everything. It's kind of like email, but that still comes to me. So those are the two best ways. Instagram by far is the best because my inbox just gets cluttered.
Right.
1,000 emails.
Well, and perfect. So now we all know where to find you. And guys, help him accomplish this goal for the 50,000 followers in 365 days, right?
Yeah.
So let's help him achieve that goal. And Horace, thank you so much for being on my show. I really appreciate all the wisdom you have and the knowledge you've shared with us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, guys, stay tuned. So when I post, stay tuned. And if you have any questions, you know where to find them.